Let's move on to Halo Infinite, though. Halo Infinite got some big upgrades, but also not big upgrades, which I'll discuss. So if you look at the thumbnail of this podcast, that little photo is pretty notorious. It's not the Craig. It's not the Craig image of like the original Brute, but that image was shared on Twitter. It got a ton of retweets saying, "Hey, look at Halo Infinite now. They've upgraded it like crazy." And shortly after being posted and going somewhat viral, one of the devs from Halo is like, "Actually, I'm gonna correct you. Listen, that's not in engine. So maybe it is a cutscene or something like that, but it is not in engine. So don't get your hopes up,
Okay,
kind of
but
thing."
The first one, I thought the first one was also like part of a cutscene.
It is, because he's talking to the camera. So, I don't know how you quantify that, but whatever you're seeing, that does look great. It looks really good. It's got some more character. It looks like, the rendering is done. But if you want to check on Reddit, r/gaming, I think has a post right now showing the assault rifle before and after. They did that, initial reveal a few months back. And
Dude,
now
the guns look like plastic.
they don't have any color, nothing.
Initially.
Yeah, they have like no color to them. They just they look like plastic. And now they've added a lot more visual spice to it. So it definitely looks a lot better. And I mean, even the footage of the Warthog driving around and Chief doing all this stuff, it does look quite a bit better. Does it look next gen? I don't know.
Can I say,
yes,
there was you're right. Everything you said is 100% correct. It looks substantially better. But then, if you kind of think, it calls into question. Remember when it was first initially revealed? You had a lot of people kind of memeing on it, but you had a sizable amount of Halo fanboys who were defending it. They're like, "That's just the style, bro. That's just the style."
Right.
And it's you're all idiots now. Everyone who said that, you it basically was kind of exposed as including the devs were like, "Bro, this needs some more work," right? So it's that just kind of shows. I guess I shouldn't say you're all idiots, but it just shows you have people who are such fanboys that they want a product to be good so bad. They identify with Halo, and there's nothing wrong with really liking Halo, but they almost trick themselves into being it's just a style. It's just stylized, bro. It's no, dude, it looked like garbage, and now it's so much better, right? So it's kind of an interesting thing. It's dude, don't be so much of a fanboy that you're blinded to this stuff. You gotta keep a reasonable mind and be yeah, that doesn't look good for a next gen console. I think at the time it was 2020, 2019 or something. It's that doesn't look right.
It was 2020. Right. It was
2020. Yeah.
So I'm coming at it from the opposite perspective. Not a Halo fanboy. I love classic Halo. That's what I grew up. That's what made me the gamer I am now. Was Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3 especially. But I have not been excited about Halo in a long time, and I've expressed that on the podcast several times. I'm just not that excited about Infinite. Nothing about it is really speaking to me as a real future-thinking, innovative game. But one of the things that I have to admit I was impressed by was I was worried that they were going to stay so committed to classic Halo that there's parts of classic Halo that just frankly don't age well, and I was concerned about that, and I thought that's what we were going to get. But they made a lot of changes to the game in its at its core, how it functions, that I think show that they're at least thinking about how do we make Halo innovative and bring it up to sort of current standards. Things like they got a home base now. Master Chief's got a home base. He's got a garage. Vehicles. He's got sort of like the Far Cry shtick of there are these enemy bases that he can go in. He can clean them out, take over, and have that as an outpost kind of thing. Just stuff that you never saw in an old Halo game. They were just, you play this mission and then this one and then this one. You know what I'm saying? There was no place to go back to other than the game's start menu where you choose where you're going to go to next. So having that all be sort of in-game feels a lot more organic. I think that really helps bring the franchise up to speed with what gamers really have come to expect out of a modern-day video game. And that's what I think has really been holding Halo back, is that they've been so committed to staying classic that a lot of those features just don't age well. We have different standards now for what makes a good game, what makes a good user experience. So I was happy to see, at least from a negative standpoint, I haven't been excited about Infinite. That excited me. That made me feel a lot more positive about the game.
I think also with Halo, because there's been such a big gap, like we're talking like 10 years of Halo being on the back burner of like, popular culture. Like it hasn't been popular. There's been Fortnite, there's been Call of Duty, there's been Apex Legends, there's been all these other games that have popped off, and Halo has been kind of an afterthought or just like not very popular with people. But now it is going free to play. So that could be a saving grace. It will get people to maybe try it. But honestly, I'm going to tell you, and I want to know if you guys agree. I'm kind of scared about any game that launches because it just seems like everything is botched at launch.
Ugh.
Like Battlefield beta, I try that out and I'm like, yikes, this is not very polished. There's some major issues here. You look at Cyberpunk, there's all these huge games, millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in cost and devs and all this stuff here. And they never put out a finished product. And it's like, will Halo be finished? Will it be polished? Will it feel good? I don't know. I'm losing faith here. I just feel like, New World. We just talked about New World. It's like, God damn it. When is someone going to nail it? When is someone going to put out that game? And I understand major delays, COVID. I get it. That is really tough. But at the same time, when have you gone to a movie and they're like, oh, we forgot to edit the audio in, or like, oh, we forgot to fix this thing here.
It's also
we didn't do the green screening here. They don't do that.
It's also like the Slick Gaima is in the chat. Sorry, everyone I know plays Halo for multiplayer, not Forge. No.
A lot of
Dude,
the maps that you play multiplayer on are.
It's like yes,
Forge
Halo
maps.
multiplayer. Halo multiplayer is super important, but it's like that's another reason. Like, are they getting the opinions of people high up, or like this guy who's like, oh, Forge doesn't matter? I'm telling you, Forge matters so much because, like we said, the content creation aspect. That is going to be based a lot in Forge, right? And if you're someone who's like, oh, who cares? Like, I don't watch Halo YouTubers. You don't. But every goddamn 12-year-old on the planet does, okay? And they're the people who convince their moms to buy the game. Like, if you don't have that audience, the game dies. Right? You can only have so many bitter dads playing a game, right? Like, you need a bigger audience, right? So
we love Fortnite. Like, you need
we love Fortnite. We love
they gotta be flossing.
People, that's the reason that game blew up, right? Is they attracted that audience along with everyone else, right? So it's like you need those people with millions of subscribers to be playing Forge modes and having a blast, and that is such an encouragement for other people to get the game. Like, it's a huge factor. So like the fact that it isn't launching with that is a big deal. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Halo doesn't need the hardcore Halo audience. They're going to be there regardless. They need the other audience.
Yeah. And it goes beyond just content creators who have a million subscribers. Back in the day, Halo, Bungie at the time, with Halo, created longevity in the game. They basically infused new content into the game that they didn't even make.
Yep.
Yeah. What they did is they took things that other people made with Forge mode and said,
Griffball.
That's actually a really good idea. This is a really cool game mode. This is a really cool map. And they said, we're taking it because that's in actually the terms of service that you agreed to. That map's ours. So we're going to put that in the rotation. There are a ton of maps in classic Halo that were created not by Bungie, not by map designers at the studio. They were made by players.
Isn't Griffball? Isn't Griffball made by people?
Griffball. Griffball's a great example.
So when you say we don't need that stuff, we just need what they are going to spoon feed us. No, if you're actually a genuine fan of the Halo experience, you know how important community creation stuff is. And these are not people with 1 million subscribers. This was Jack sitting on his couch at home while his wife's sitting next to him on her iPad, and he made a map, and it got popular. And it's in the game. It's stuff like that that really added genuine longevity to the Halo experience.
And like the Forge modes, I think for even MLG, like the competitive scene, I'm pretty sure like almost half of the maps were Forge maps. They weren't even maps that Bungie developed because they're like, oh, these are way more competitive. So it was literally like people making Forge maps, and then they implement them into the tournaments, and they're like, yeah, don't play on the maps that we created, play on the community maps because they're more balanced. Like, that's insanity. Also,
Dude, but-
really cool that like
Yes.
my map is an MLG map. That's pretty sweet.
But what we're talking about, again, that's exactly why the people in chat are like such like we just talked about this. They're like, oh, Forge doesn't matter. We're literally talking about how they're taking Forge maps and implementing them as official MLG maps in the game. Like, now they're missing out on that content. Like, they have to make all these maps via Scratch. They could potentially launch with less maps, right? Easily. And then implement those Forge maps. So we're just saying, like, they're missing out on a big thing here. Now, does that mean Halo's going to be terrible? Absolutely not.
Listen,
So
the reason why they don't understand is because they're not real gamers like we are. Like, that's why we're the Real Gamer Hour podcast, and they're just sitting there talking trash.
I just got someone just called me tilted. He's like, "What do you know about Halo? You only play Destiny." Bro, I've been gaming my entire fucking life. Like, yeah, I used to be a dedicated Battlefield 4 YouTuber. I used to be a dedicated Call of Duty YouTuber. I used to be a dedicated, like, Borderlands YouTuber. I've done it all, brother.
Do you know who we are?
about gaming.
Like, do you know how many anime chicks I've got on my roster in Genshin, bro? Do you know how many thousands of dollars I've spent on an anime game, bro?
The truth is,
but
you
it's-
have to be willing to hear the good and the bad. We started out this session by
Exactly.
praising the game and saying, look, they surprised us
Halo-
with this feature and this feature.
it's
this
a
feature.
huge
That's
upgrade.
awesome. But here are our
Whole-
concerns.
Holy crap. I will say, legitimately, like, because we have kind of been crapping on Halo, in fairness to the Halo fans. Again, you're right. Thank God they didn't launch in 2020.
Yeah,
Like, could you imagine?
They're giving themselves
Like,
an
honestly.
opportunity to succeed, right?
Honestly, like, how bad it probably would have been a train wreck.
They would have got clowned on, and it would have been the end of Halo.
So it's dude, someone's like, this is why block Cactus. For what? Saying that Halo should launch with a Forge mode? What did I say that's so controversial, dude? I was like,
Also,
Forge mode matters. Dude,
If you're listening to us, we're also saying we want these things so it doesn't die. We want it to succeed.
dude, I remember coming home from like junior high, I think it was, every day I would come home and get on Halo and play Stairway to Heaven, Tremors, Duck Hunt. Bro, this was like such a huge part of my life. That's why I'm like, I lived off Forge mode and multiplayer. Loved the MP as well. Like, no shade to the MP, but it's like Halo launching with no co-op campaign, no Forge mode until later. I think it really does hurt it, and I would love to see it launch with all of that stuff, because it is kind of weird. Like, oh, pay this money now and get part of it. We'll bring the rest of the stuff later, but that's, people freaked out at Bungie for doing that. The whole, like, dungeon thing. Pay us now and you get the content later. People are like pitchforks with that, right? So it's understandable that people are upset about that in Halo as well. I just want the game to be good. I always want, like, the games to succeed because I just like gaming, and I'm just worried that it's like, it's like, do they need a little bit more time? Right? I'm always okay with devs delaying stuff. It seems like the higher ups of these companies are not. It seems like the gamers are pretty chill with games being delayed. Like, if you ask a Halo fan, obviously they want it to come out. They want to play it. But if you're like, if they need more time, would you be willing to give them a delay and they can launch with everything at once? I think a lot of Halo fans would be like, yeah, I would be okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, rushed product, always bad. Delayed product,
Yeah.
opportunity to be good.